In today's video, we're going to be finding the function rule from a table. Now, more specifically, we're going to find the function rule in slope-intercept form. So if we remember what slope-intercept form is, it is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope. It's the rise over run. It's the change in y values over the change in x values. The b is the y-intercept, where the line hits the y-axis. And you can sometimes be able to tell where the y-intercept is in a table. So if we look at our first table right here, all right, we need to find the slope. All right, you would do that by finding the change in y over the change in x values. All right, the rise over run. So I take a look, and they should have the same ratio when you divide those numbers. So from -3 to 5, that goes up 8. And -2 to 0 goes up 2. So the ratio for my slope in this one is 8/2. Now let's just double check the next one. It should have the same ratio. 5 to 21 goes up 16. Over 4. 0 to 4 goes up 4. So 16/4. And 21 to 53, right? That goes up 32. Over 4 to 12 goes up 8. 32/8. All of these have the same ratio, 8/2, 16/4, 32/8, right? It is the ratio is a simplified ratio is 4. So my slope for this is 4, or 4 to 1, but we usually don't write 4/1 as a fraction. So my slope is going to be 4. So I'm going to write that in a different color here. So there is my slope. Now, I can tell where my y-intercept is in my table. It's where it hits the y-axis, and where it hits the y-axis is at x equals 0. So where x equals 0, that's where it hits the y-axis. And right here, that is my b value. That is, I'm going to call this my b. So 5 is my b. So then my equation would be y equals the slope for x plus the b, which is 5. And there is my equation for this table. And you could double check by plugging it in. -2 times 4 is -8, plus 5 is -3, right? 4 times 0 plus 5 is 5. 4 times 4 plus 5 is 21. All right, so that would be our equation for this table. And it's nice that the intercept was given to us. Okay, now let's look over here. 22 to 12 goes down 10. -6 to -2 goes up to the right 4. So in this one, and again, I'm not going to have you do every single one. Okay, eventually we're going to get into tables that are nonlinear, so they wouldn't have the common ratio, but that's going to be on for a later lesson. So my slope here is -10/4. Now, if you don't know how to reduce fractions, just use your calculator. -10/4 is -2.5. I'm going to write it as a fraction, though. -5/2. So that is my slope. My y-intercept, take a look. Do I see a 0? Yes, I do. It's 7. That's my v value. So my equation is y equals -5/2 x plus 7. So these first two problems were pretty simple because they give us the b in the table. But that might not always be the case. As we go down. Okay, right here. -8 to -7 goes up 1. 2 to 3 goes up 1. So my slope is 1 over 1, which is just 1. This one doesn't give us a y-intercept from our table. There's no 0 here. So what we have to do is we plug it into our y equals mx plus b equation. So when they don't give us the intercept, we need to write out y equals mx plus b. We need to plug in our slope in for m. And we need to pick a point, any of these points, and plug it in for x and y. Now, I usually do ones that just have positives. Well, there is no all positives, but I'll just do the first one. So I'm going to plug in 2 in for x and -8 in for y. So I have -8 equals 1 times 2 plus b. 1 times 2 is 2. And then I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. And I get my b is 6. No, -10. Because those cancel, and my b is -10. Now, going back, I have my m. My m is 1. I have my b is 10. So my equation is y equals 1x minus 10. Or you don't even have to write the 1. You could just write y equals x minus 10. All right, and there would be my equation. Either one of those. So a little bit more, a little extra step when you're not given the y-intercept in the table. All right, so now let's take a look over here. Another one where the y-intercept is not given in our table. Let's find the slope. This one, 5 to 2 goes down 3 over 4. Okay, no intercept. So again, oops, didn't want that. Y equals mx plus b. All right, I figured out my slope. My slope is -3 over 4, which is going to go in for m. All right, I'm going to pick my point and plug it in. 4 goes in for x, 5 goes in for y. So we have 5 equals -3/4 times 4 plus b. And we have to isolate the b. Get the b by itself. -3/4 times 4. I know that's -3 off the top of my head, but if you need to use the calculator to help you, you can do that. -3/4 times 4 is -3. So we have 5 equals -3 plus b. Add the 3 to both sides. And 5 plus 3 is 8. So I have my m. I have my b. So my equation is y equals -3/4 x plus 8. And there it is. So if the table gives you the y-intercept, it makes it a lot simpler. All you have to do is find the slope, the rise over run. If it doesn't, you have to plug it into y equals mx plus b to find out what your b is. So that's the whole goal in doing that when you plug in a point. And it could be just 4 or 5 you could plug in, or you could have plugged in 8, 2 and got the same answer. Right? 8 times -3/4 is -6, and then 2 plus, yep, it would have got the same exact thing. And you can double check by plugging in your points. All right. So that's it for today's lesson. And remember, whenever you are solving for X or Y, always give math a try.